Hey everyone, Thyworm here with new video after a while. This time it is time for the review of Bright Memory Infinite. Have a look at this. This is the work of a single Chinese developer who clearly had a lot of fun developing this game, and I had just as much fun playing it. As always, let's start with a bit of history. In January 2019, almost 3 years ago, I reviewed Bright Memory without Infinite, just Bright Memory. It was basically a glorified tech demo, an action-packed shooter of roughly 2 hours, developed by one developer in his spare time in Unreal Engine 4. The result, however, was a big adrenaline rush that lots of people loved, especially given the circumstances. Really fun game, solid action, easy to pick up, and it was only €5 back in the day. This wasn't the end, however, as the dev back in the day as well quickly announced he wanted to expand on what he created, which he has done by releasing Bright Memory Infinite. It came out a few days ago. It's not really a sequel or prequel or anything, because that would assume that you understand the story, which is just not the case. You should view this as simply an addition, another 2 to 2.5 hours of fun in a very similar way that Bright Memory already offered. Quite some elements were added, not all of them are done so successfully, we'll talk about that, but Infinite is definitely on par with the original, and it is impressive that all of this is built by just one person pretty much. In case you're not familiar with the original Bright Memory, let me paint you a small picture here of what this game is about and what you're doing while you're looking at some footage. You are Sheila, a secret agent of an organization, and for one reason or another, an evil general has created a black hole. This puts all sorts of weird events in motion. Entire airplanes are sucked into the hole, but you are not, of course. That wouldn't be fun. And fun is the name of the game here, but I'll get back to that. Not only is there a lot of suction going on, time is dilated as well, and every so often you find yourself in a different dimension, fighting ancient warriors. It adds a bit of diversity and forces you to change up your combos, as these ancient soldiers can be a lot tougher than your run-of-the-mill average soldiers with guns. The story is completely ridiculous, nothing really makes sense. The English voice acting is horrible as well, which doesn't help. The lines are delivered without any emotion to it, and the whole cast is done by 3 voice actors. But honestly, that's not why you are playing this game. You're playing this, I would say, for a few reasons. 1. The game looks gorgeous and runs very well, in my opinion at least. The graphical fidelity on display here is stunning, and I found myself gasping at some of these sights. The game boasts ray tracing, which makes a huge difference, and to consolidate your PC a bit, there is DLSS as well. I cranked up everything to high, except shadows and ambient occlusion, set DLSS to performance, ran it in 1440p, and you can see the footage in this video. I have an i7 and 2080 graphics card for reference. YouTube compresses everything quite a bit, but you should get the idea. 2. The game is simply fun to play. Everything here is just made so you can slash, dice, shift and shoot across enemies, and it feels so smooth to pull off various combos. There is definitely some mastery going into the key combinations, and the enemies can be somewhat tough, but it's mostly rather forgiving, and there's a big emphasis on giving players the freedom to enjoy the game in the way they want to play. You can either never use your swords or be a 100% ninja or magician, and it would work. The only section in the game that strays from this is a small stealth mission, which feels out of tune, honestly. I guess you could argue that it gives a brief moment of respite, but I didn't really feel I needed that. Another section, on the other hand, where you're driving a modern Audi car through the streets and caves while a black hole is slowly destroying the planet. Yeah, that's pretty interesting and a lot of fun. 3. There are some interesting boss fights, which heavily rely on skill-based combat. If you are not dodging or parrying attacks properly, you will not survive. It feels good to defeat those bosses because there is some skill involved. It's not Dark Souls by any means, clearly, but it's not a walk in the park either. And 4, if you are of the weeb category, you can spend a little bit of money on costumes for Sheila. I mean, you know. In the original, you could unlock a schoolgirl outfit, for example, and here you can buy all sorts of outfits, not for a lot of money, honestly, and it's all DLC content. The not so kinky stuff is 80 cents cents, and the somewhat more kinky stuff is €1.80, so pick your poison, I would say. Then some negatives. 1. The game is really short, only 2 or 2.5 hours long. There is some replay value, but honestly, not an awful lot. 2. The game is €16, which is a lot of money for 2 hours. If you, however, already owned the original game, which quite a few people did, the game is free and automatically added to your Steam library. In that case, definitely play it. I think the asking price really depends on how you are viewing video games. I think a single dev taking a risk and developing a product that is on par with AAA studios, honestly, but limited in playtime, deserves some attention and deserves the asking price. If you compare what else you can get for this money, for example Outriders currently, which is on sale, then yeah, it's a bit of a different view. The decision is of course up to you, I'm just providing some context here. And 3, this is a minor thing, but the game incorporates a few too many features that it doesn't really need. For example, the skill system adds a little bit of progression because you can find reliquaries and turn them into skills, but the weapons I felt are already sufficient, so it feels like a tacked on feature without many benefits. There are other minor quirks with it, such as having to manually loot ammunition, which feels clunky, and a UI that isn't always intuitive, but to me these are minor gripes. To conclude, I think we should praise the dev for creating, once again, a very solid game. I had fun, it was short and sweet, just like this video. I hope you enjoyed, you know what to do if you did, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, love you all, bye bye.